fact that I can't think of anything.
All right, hello guys. How are you guys doing? We are here in the heart of Germantown at False Idol Independent Brewers. This is Sean Steele right here, as well as Chris Woodall. We are here. They are the brewers at False Idol. They're gonna just kind of talk to us about their brewing operation. Hello guys, how you guys doing?
Yeah, we're right in the middle of it right now too.
Awesome guys. So can you explain what you guys are doing and kind of your brewing process right now?
So we are brewing a kettle sour right now, like St. Hyena, one of our most popular ones. And I've gotten the water to a specific temperature and to a specific level for us to add our grain. And what that'll do is give us the sugars we need to ferment it, turn it into beer, give us the flavors that we want. And this is the very beginning of the process. I'm basically making just sugar water from this malted grain. And all these different types of grains gives us different flavors and textures and kind of makes each beer different from the last. So he's adding the grain for me, I'm stirring it in, and it's literally one of the first steps that we do getting the brew day started. So
Awesome.
almost done.
Sean, can you kind of explain to me your inspiration behind starting False Idol?
So, took a trip to Europe, vacation with my wife, and the beer scene there is really unique, and you find that certain regions have certain styles that are most popular there, they kind of stick to. And I liked that sense of identity and the respect for beer that's there. And so once we got back home, we had been tossing the idea of a brewery around, and that trip really solidified it. And I knew that I wanted to have my own twist on beers. I had specific recipes I was proud of that I'd been testing. I wanted my look in the restaurant or in the brewery, brew pub, and so we made the decision to go for it. And I wanted something smaller too, where I could do something different, and especially right now, like still having the masks on, we're hopefully on the tail end of the pandemic. We're able to adapt more quickly when we need to. If we need to do a different batch, or hey, let's experiment and see what people respond to. We can do that and still be authentic, have fun with it, stay safe. Like Chris and I brewing in, having to do this on your own, or if you're doing gigantic batches, you're thinking about your back, moving all the grain bags around, it can be pretty intense. And so this is kind of like a Goldilocks setup for us.
Absolutely. So can you kind of tell me a little bit about your history? I know that you first started out at a different brewery. Like, how did you kind of really transition into that?
So I didn't grow up drinking beer. Family just didn't really drink it. Didn't give it a second thought. But then after moving to Louisville, which I've lived here about 12 years now, started to get more into beer thanks to local pint nights and stuff, where I started to see kind of how cool it was. Started getting more into it, started writing beer reviews, did that for a few like online blogs and stuff, magazines, and reviewed a beer at Akasha right here in town, and loved it so much that I was like, okay, like this is super good. If you have a need for a brewer, or a janitor for that matter, like I just want to get my foot in the door, And a couple months later, they had an opening for a brewer, and they kind of took a risk on me. I didn't have brewing experience, barring just a few homebrewed recipes. So really, everything that I learned about brewing, and certainly on this type of a scale, I learned from them, and am really grateful for that experience. We're still very close. I mean, the brewing community is close anyway, but with Akasha, it kind of always still feels like home. I still feel a sense of like ownership over that place just from having spent time there. So
Okay. So some of like the different flavors that come out of the beers and stuff, like, well, how do you just like think of a different You know, does some like chocolate flavor kind of pop in your head, and you're like, oh, let me see, you know, what's going on?
One of the nice things about sharing the space with a restaurant is that Zach, the chef, he's always trying something new. There's a weekly special, and then we tend to talk to each other about what would go well with that, or even just smelling something come out of the kitchen, like they're using like basil for something. You think, well, could I do anything with that? You know, the gears start to turn.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, no, I can't. But it's still fun to go through that. And most of the time, you'd be surprised at what kind of goes into a beer.
This first went down, we got together, the ownership and management, and talked about what we could do to sustain the business through this, you know, obviously strange and difficult time for all businesses. But so we adjusted our hours some, we adjusted the menu some, the staffing model has changed. But you know, we've been doing curbside, we've been doing delivery for the food via Postmates, but for the beer we've started doing online orders. So that's a new development for False Idol. And then deliveries we're doing, and I get to do those personally, so it's fun for me to deliver beer and make people happy. But you know, we just kind of we've had to be flexible and kind of adjust on a weekly, if not daily basis. But so far we're making it work. There was a shortage of to-go containers nationwide because everybody has had to go to curbside service or carry out. And so that's been a challenge to find enough to-go vessels to serve our beers in.
Okay.
But again, we've, you know, Becky and Sean have been good about giving us what we need to put the beer in. And so we've gone from growlers to 32-ounce cans. We ran out of those, so we started buying all the growlers we could find, the 64-ounce glass bottles. Ran out of those, so we're filling other people's growlers that they own. And we have since found some more growlers. We found some plastic 32-ounce bottles, some more glass 32-ounce bottles. So we just been bringing in whatever we can find to put beer in.